Okay, it's 3:00. We'll call the Stark County Planning and Zoning meeting to order. It's April 27, 2023. First we on the agenda is minutes from our last meeting, which was on March 30th, 2023. Is there any corrections or minutes from last month?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 30th, 2023. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Have a second. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Also for attendance too, I guess, I'll make sure we had, absent is Byron Richard and Susie Soboluk. And we have on the phone Sue Larson and John Oderman. So we do have a quorum. So the next we'll go into the public hearing for RZ 02-23 I-94 Development LLC with Carl Kirschenheiter. Is that how it's pronounced? Principal is requesting a rezoning from residential agricultural to agricultural residential on a property located in the southwest quarter of northeast quarter of Section 5, Township 139 North, Range 94 West, legally described as Block 1 and 2 of the Enchanted Acres subdivision containing approximately 38.22 acres. And are you representing the, you can just state your name.
Yes, I
and
am. Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering, representing the owner here of Enchanted Acres. Just to give you a little history on the project, this was platted back in 2012 into a 9-lot subdivision with kind of a central looped access road that accessed over onto 100M Avenue on the west side. It never was developed with the road and everything like that. It still is the way it was at the time it was platted. This owner still owns all the lots. So what he's actually doing is trying to vacate that old plat. We're gonna go to a 2-lot subdivision instead. A lot of the reason for that is just some of the infrastructure costs of putting that road in recent years, issues with Southwest water availability. He's found it's just more feasible for him at this point to do a 2-lot development than try to get that road and infrastructure put in for the 9-lot subdivision. So with that, the residential agriculture was kind of an outdated zoning. It's no longer in your code. So we're gonna get this updated to your current code and zone this to an agricultural residential. In the future plat, the next item here, we'll get these to the 10-acre minimums that we need for that zoning district. If you have any questions, I'd stand for any
Any
questions.
questions from the board? Okay. Seeing no questions, then I guess we'll go. Mr. Joseph, you got Rick? Is there any public hearing? I guess we got to do it first of all, yeah. I'll open up the public hearing then, and if anybody wants to speak, you just step to the mic and state your name, please.
My name is Deborah Olive, and I have been summoned here by you. Yes, yeah,
Not summoned. It's a notice letting you know
Well-
that it's available and you can show up if you want.
right.
Do you have any questions about this?
Yeah, which part is it, the 2 blue areas is what we're talking about?
Just the one on the southwest, the one. that-
So it would be the lower of the 2
Yeah, the lower
blue
one to the on the
blocks?
west, right?
Oh,
It's this one right here.
okay,
Yeah, it's vacant.
I know that. I live next to it.
Yeah, that's the area
Okay.
we're talking about, just that.
Okay. And what about the other blue one? Is that the next item on the agenda?
No,
or-
that's been developed, that's a subdivision there,
Oh.
that's not required.
It's this piece right here. This one's already
Okay.
in, and that's
Oh,
somewhat
okay,
developed.
okay,
It's just
okay.
this piece right
So it's just going into 2
2 lots, yep. So
2 lots. So this is all, yeah, I remember that from 2012.
Yes, correct. Yep. So it's gonna be less dense than it is.
I think that's awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, no other questions then? Thanks for coming. Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Okay, the public hearing's open. Anybody else have any questions on this, for or against this request? We're gonna ask anybody from the public have any comment on this request, for or against? If not, then I'll close the public hearing, and Mr. Joseph, your recommendations on this?
Go ahead. Do you have one more question? Go right ahead. Go up to the podium.
Just a quick question. Do you have a, like, are you just gonna divide it? Oh, okay.
One line right here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There'd be
Okay, awesome.
two lots there, the north,
Okay,
the
thank
north
you.
and south.
Thank you.
And ma'am, that's what the next item will be. They're rezoning first and then asking for a replat.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes, Chairman Franchuk, Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. As the applicant's representative discussed, because they're replatting this, it's the time to clean this up and put the new, and bring this into conformance with the new zoning code, and that's the RA zoning, that they're requesting. The staff recommends approval based upon the findings in the staff report. And we do note too that this actually will be less density in what they're gonna do. I think some of the lots that were there were actually larger, smaller than 10 acres. So this really will match what's going on in that area right now. So staff recommends approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Josephson? Not, then I'll look for a motion to approve or deny this request.
Chairman Franchuk, I would move to approve application RZ 02-23-I-94 Development LLC, rezoning from the old code of residential agricultural to agricultural residential.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion.
I have a second. Okay, any other discussion? Not, then we'll go roll call vote. Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Dressler,
Aye.
Commissioner Froelich,
Aye.
Commissioner Oderman.
Aye.
Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, motion carries. Next, we'll go to another item on our agenda today is the public hearing for the MSP 0123 for I-94 Development LLC with Carl Kirschenheiner. Principal is requesting a minor subdivision plat of the replat of the Enchanted Acres subdivision located in the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 5, Township 139 North, Range 94 West, legally described as Block 1 and 2 of the Enchanted Acres subdivision containing approximately 38.22 acres. Okay. Mr. Frank.
Thank you again, Commissioners. Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering. Same property here we just discussed. A few things to note on the plat. As I indicated, we're going to vacate that existing road that looped through here, get rid of that. We're going to keep the right-of-way dedication that we had for 100 M Avenue on the west side. We did vacate some utility easements and things that are no longer necessary as well. The only easements we're leaving are a utility easement along the west side of the property for some of those dry utilities, and then a water line easement on the east side to get southwest water through Lot 2 into Lot 1, so we can get these served with water. We also have a non-access line shown along 100 M Avenue, the county road to the west. So we're going to restrict this development to one approach where it's currently constructed onto 100 M Avenue, and it's right at the property line of this Lot 1 and 2. And with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Do you have any questions from the board? See no questions, then we'll open up the public hearing and then open the public hearing. If anybody from the public want to have any questions for or against this request? Do you have any questions or? No, you're good? Okay. Okay, anybody from the public, have any questions? Or for requesting,
Go right ahead. Go on up.
yes.
Just out of curiosity, to get the water line, are you going to go east, up over the hill for that?
So the development to the northeast, Buffalo Heights,
Okay.
has southwest water.
Right.
So they would come from Buffalo Heights.
Oh, I see.
Down the back lot of 2 to serve lot 1 and 2.
I see.
So it would come
Okay.
in
Okay.
along the east side of this development.
Okay, okay, awesome, thank you.
Okay, anybody from the public, any comments for or against this request? Hearing none, then I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Josephson, do you have recommendations on this request?
Thank you, Chairman Franchuk. Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. This is a request for a minor subdivision plat of a replat of the Enchanted Acres subdivision. There's been some discussion about this. This does meet the criteria for a minor subdivision plat because they are not adding any new roads or easements in here. And as the applicant's representative said, this will effectively reduce the number of lots from 9 lots down to, down to 2. So as I said, it meets the requirements for a minor subdivision plat. There were we did send this out to one of our engineering consulting firms to review it. They had some comments. They forwarded those over to staff. We shared that with the applicant's representative. And they made some adjustments to their plat based upon that. They were more technical things, like corrections of where lines were and so on. And they resubmitted the plats based upon making those corrections. And we received those on April 19th, 2023, and they were dated April 18th. So staff recommendation is based on recommend approval based on the revised information received on April 18th, the revised ones. So we recommend approval based on the findings in the staff report. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Josephson? Not, then I'll look for a motion to approve or deny this request.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minor subdivision plat of the replat of Enchanted Acres subdivision.
Okay, I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? A roll call vote then. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner Dressler,
Aye.
Commissioner Freilich,
Aye.
Commissioner Oderman, and Commissioner Larson. Commissioner Larson? Okay, the chair votes aye, motion carries. Okay, then this will go before our meeting next week, Tuesday, on our meeting for approval before the commissioner. Okay, is there anything else? We have any planning items, Mr. Joseph?
Try and go through them quickly. Commissioners, just a few things I wanted to talk about. First of all, the proposal to update the comprehensive plan. And I want to thank Commissioners Franchuk and Claris and Sobolik and Freilich, as well as Emergency Services Director Davenport for agreeing to serve on the selection committee. We all reviewed the two applications that we received, and also we held interviews with key staff members who would be of those firms who would be involved with us, and we checked up on references. After much discussion, the selection committee is going to recommend to the county commission to go with the proposal from SRF Consulting. And they're going to bring that forward to the county commission this Tuesday. And based upon the commission's action, then it'll be entering into the phase of getting, of negotiating a contract. And then once that's signed, the county will be able to move forward with with updating the comprehensive plan. It will probably take about 14 months in order to get that done, maybe a little longer than that. But it is coming. It's coming now. So there were a couple of other things, 3 things I wanted to mention, and I'm hoping to get some volunteers from the Planning and Zoning Commission. If you can contact me later if you want, or if you want to volunteer today, that's great. There are 3 things that I want to look at. One part has to do with zoning code enforcement. I'd like to see about changing the current chapter in there and maybe adding some things to it that may make it more effective. I know we had one county commissioner who talked about revising some of the penalties so that after a certain period of time, it actually states that you get charged a certain amount per day until it's remedied. That was just one of the things. And I've had some language looking at other counties, and I just want to see if there are any of the planning and zoning commissioners would be interested in working on that. I don't know that we're going to have anything coming up this next meeting, so there would be time to get together and go through drafts and get suggestions and recommendations.
Mr. Josephson, when are you, in your opinion, looking at trying to bring forth something to, some recommendations on that to the full board?
Oh, well, it's going to, probably not for a couple months. It's going to depend. We don't have a meeting coming up. We probably won't, we don't have any applications that have come in yet for June 1st. So I'm flexible in terms of bringing that forward. I would rather have work on it and then get review from it to make sure that it's ready to go forward than to actually set a date for it.
Thank you.
As will the other two projects I'm going to talk about.
The reason I asked the question, Steve, is just thinking of timing with my calendar, with things that are coming up, May and June and July, get to be extremely busy. So trying to be able to say, yes, I would love to volunteer. I don't know if I can say that right now.
There's not an urgent rush.
Have a suggestion how many members you'd like to have on this?
I'd say probably two at least.
Yes.
I would be glad to volunteer to do.
You heard that, Steve? Sue?
I did, so Sue Larson.
I'm thinking Truth and Commissioner Messer might be interested in this too. I know you talked about this too, may be interested in, they're gonna talk to him about that.
Well, that's possible. I think I'd like to keep it in the P and Z first, and then work with him on this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can put me down too for a backup if no one else can volunteer. We've got a busy couple of months coming up, so it'll just depend on timing, but I definitely can do it if it works into the schedule.
Yeah, commissioners, I'll definitely work with
Yeah.
with whatever your schedules are.
Okay.
Okay. And then we can check with the other ones that are missing today too, if they'd be interested in it too.
Okay, and if anybody walks away from this meeting and decides later on they'd be interested. The second thing is, a while ago, I had been working on a solar ordinance, and I'd worked on it, I shelved it, we had some things come up, I shelved it. Since that time, I've done a little more reading. I'm also interested too, because I think there's another county in the region, it might be Mercer County, who's working on a similar ordinance. And I think I was talking to a couple of commissioners last week, there have been some things I've read about that I think I know that Commissioner Dressler and I had done a lot of work on this. There are some things that I've read since that probably need to be covered in this. So if there's anyone who's interested in working on that.
Yeah, depending on schedule.
You know what, and I'm glad you said that because that's one of the things is for if these things are large and they're gonna be adjacent to cities, it's good to get a city perspective on that.
I'd also be interested.
Okay. So Commissioners White and Claire, thank you. I'll be in touch. And then the third thing is this. I've been trying to do this for a while. At the time that our zoning code was adopted back in 2012, the zoning map wasn't changed, so it was changed because a lot of land that had been unzoned was zoned to agriculture. But the old zoning districts that were in the code that was adopted in 1983 and repealed in 2012. Those zoning districts were in place. And what I found over the years is there were a number of rural subdivisions. I think they were originally platted with the intent of being like 4-H subdivisions or subdivisions where estate ones where people could have horses and animals. And in 1983, the zoning map was changed and some of those subdivisions were given low-density residential, which doesn't permit that. So I've been working on this project for a while. I'm trying to identify properties, especially subdivisions, larger subdivisions, where it would be appropriate to at least go to the property owners and ask them if they want to rezone so that the zoning is consistent with what the subdivisions were intended to be developed for. And that's something I'd do the work on that, and I'd like to bring it to a couple of commissioners for review before going forward with that. And again, that's another project. It probably won't be till summer or something like that before I can bring that forward.
So you're trying to add animal agriculture into those, or you're trying to take it out?
Oh, no, I'm trying to, I want to give it a zoning that restores what those subdivisions were intended to be. Because I've gone back and people will say, why can't I have animals here? And then I go back
Yeah.
and I read the restrictive covenants. And that was the intent, and they'll say in here, well, we limited this and that, but the thing is, when it comes to zoning code versus restrictive covenant, it's whichever is more restrictive.
Restrictive,
So
oh.
we want to try and restore some of that, restore those, what was in the original zoning,
To allow horses?
or to allow whatever
Or
was gonna,
small,
supposed to be
yeah,
in there,
yeah,
yes.
Okay. Yep.
You know, otherwise I've had to do interpretations and stuff like that, or, you know, ask people to rezone, and it's like, it's just easier to bring the whole subdivision in together. Now, again, it'll be up to we would have to notify the individual owners, and it would be up to them to consent. But at least I want to identify this and get that going,
You're looking for two members to review that with you.
at least.
Okay.
We really can't have more than 4, so then you get into notice issues. So, but if we get at least 2 members, that would be helpful.
You can put me down for that, then.
Okay. And that's all that I have. Thank you to those who are volunteering, and if anybody else is interested, you know, get in touch with me. And as I said, I'll have as I finish off drafts of them, I'll get in touch and, you know, give you some time to review and work with people's schedules. I understand this is a busy time of the year.
Steve, if any of these 3 topics that you just discussed, if you start pushing them off to, or having to, because into August, September, then go ahead and reach out to me.
Okay,
I just, right now, I don't know if I say yes, I don't know if I can fully commit to what you're looking for.
I understand.
So if, August, September, I think my schedule starts to free up a little bit better, and I can start to give you a better perspective from my end of my thoughts.
Thank you.
Also, getting back to the comprehensive plan too, I just want to comment too that with this, the company that gets the contract, we told them they want to make sure that they work with the communities that are in our county too, that they get together with the communities and, discuss things there so that's involved in it.
Right, and I'm hoping, I mean, I don't want to bias the direction that it goes in, but I'm hoping some of the recommendations they'll come out with will have some effects on our current zoning ordinance. That they'll have some good suggestions about how it can be, just in my opinion, how it can be changed to serve a largely rural agricultural county, large lot rural agricultural county.
Okay.
And that's it. I've already taken up enough of your time, but thank you for volunteering, and I'll be in touch as I work on drafts.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Sure, I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you.